Do you think that bail is a necessary measure in the criminal justice system? And are you for or against some sort of bail reform?
I absolutely believe that professional bail is a crucial part of the judicial system. I do think that the improvements that could be done and the common ground that if you follow my Twitter feed is a more reasonable bond amount, okay? And having the ability to where people would really understand what professional bail does. So instead of it being a $20,000 bond, if the criminal history is not that extensive or whatever, then why don't we make that a $2,500 or a $5,000 bond? Let that be the common middle ground to where it guarantees the accused individual is going to go to court. It guarantees the alleged victim is going to have justice, and we don't have to worry about massive case backlog when they FTA, and then when these people that do miss court. And that's another thing, is that if you would just completely forget about everything that you've ever seen on TV about professional bail, I think we can get over the hump of what actual professional bail bond industry does.
Well, I know that you're against bail reform. Can you tell me why that is?
I'm completely against bail reform, mainly on the way that it's proposed. And
Okay.
I don't want to use the word angry, but I get very upset about some of the propaganda, is the only word I can come up with, that I see online in reference to bail punishes the poor, and we do all these horrible things when we don't arrest people.
Right.
We don't set bail or bond amounts. We don't do any of those things. We just guarantee that these individuals are going to go to court. And another, some points that I would hit on why it's so dangerous in the way that it's proposed, because, that I see articles about petty theft. So if an individual goes into, let's just use you for instance, okay, Crystal?
Right.
If you go home today and someone has broke into your home and stole some of your most valuable possessions, and the police end up catching that individual. Now, granted, you as an attorney, you're innocent until proven guilty, but the tangible evidence says that individual is the one who broke into your home, violated your trust. And the way that bail reform is proposed is that individual is just going to walk out of jail. There's going to be no deterrent. There's going to be no guarantee. There's going to be nothing there to assure that individual is going to show up for court so Crystal can have some type of justice. And then if they run, and a lot of states, have changed their laws, they're becoming sanctuaries for people who run on bail or just run on justice at all. And then you're going to be standing there forever going, where's the criminal justice system for me? And the other thing that's going to do, Crystal, when there's no deterrent and it's just a revolving door, you're seeing it in New Mexico now, you're seeing it in New Jersey. People are getting arrested 4, 5, 6 times a week because they've been through this revolving door system. The anarchy of that is that, and you see it on YouTube every day, people who, as soon as they get pulled over from police, they whip out their phone and they immediately go into, lawyer mode, and the overall diminishment of respect for law enforcement, respect for the judicial system, is going to deteriorate over time. And I've narrowed it down in my tweets and stuff.
Right.
But I feel like 6 to 18 months, and you won't be able to close that Pandora's box once it starts.
But in New York, the purpose of bail is to ensure that the defendant comes back to court. Okay? And so as long as the defendant has enough community ties, right? Like, they have a job, they have a phone number, they have an email, they got a grandma or whatever, they should be released, right? So what happens, though, sometimes is judges get nervous because, let's just say Mark is charged with assault in the 2nd degree. He beat up a cop. So just based on the charges, forgetting about his community ties, just based on the charges, the judge does not feel comfortable, and they set bail on this person, first arrest. in that instance, as an attorney, that is not fair. That is not right. That is not the purpose of bail. And let's just say that person cannot make his bail. Let's say that bail is $10,000, which in New York, that would be a low bail for a felony. $10,000, that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I think bail reform is there to address those issues, to address those type of people. Bail reform is not for, you know, this repeat offender that's, you know, been arrested, you know, 10 times in the past month. Like in New York, we have bail reform. So bail reform is a couple of things. First of all, it's like making it accessible to for people to get out of jail, right? So the judge set, in New York, the judge sets bail. Okay, but let's say the judge sets, it's a misdemeanor, the judge sets $1,000. The family can't pay the $1,000. We have organizations in New York that will pay the bail for you. Depending on, you know, your criminal history and your record and whatever, they'll pay the bail for you. That's bail reform. We also have situations where there's something called supervised release, which is basically when you commit a crime, the judge says, you know what, you know, I don't really want to set bail on you, but this is kind of a bad crime. And certain crimes are omitted, like violent crimes, like sex crimes. You can't be charged with any of that. And we're going to do supervised release, which means you have to check in with, it's almost like a bail bondsman, but there's no money. You have to check in twice a week. You have to get services.
Crystal? Where does the funding come from, and who pays for that? And who looks for the individuals when they don't go to court or they don't check in?
That, for supervised release, it's run through the court.
Okay, but where does that money come from to hire that individual to take those phone calls or tell them to come down to 82nd Street and check in?